You can use Google Docs to facilitate focused, interactive conversations around reading. Instead of having students just go onto a document and answer questions that you have on there, ask the students the questions first and have them engage in discussions, and then they can work to create a final response that they can put on the document together. You can have multiple questions for the group to wrestle with, and you can even have students create their own questions. In this example assignment, I have my students reading two different books. For the first book, The Pain and the Great One by Judy Blume, I ask my students 4 questions that focus on comparing and contrasting. For question number 4, I decided to break it up and to create a table so that my students have somewhere to put their responses. Once my students are finished with that, we're going to do a second part, and we're going to read the book A Weekend at Wendell's, and they're going to create some of their own compare and contrast questions for that book. Now, at any time as the teacher, as my students are working on this document, there is a comment feature you'll notice over here, so I can click add a comment and comment on whatever my students are working on at any time, or I can do it once they are finished and it's turned into me. If you want to share a document like this with a small group, you can either work through Classroom and make a copy for each student document, and instead of having all the students create the copy, you can have just one student make the copy, and then they can share that with each of the other students in their group. That way, when they turn it in, there's only going to be one copy of the document that they're all working on. If you didn't want to work through Classroom, you could share the document with one student in the group, and then that student could share it with the rest of the students in the group so that they would all have access to the document.